Yeah, hello, good evening, and welcome to Real Estate Live with Olisa. This is episode 14. I had issues with the last broadcast, so I had to end it and start again. Yes, our topic for today is the truth about cheap lands, and I'm gonna make sure I try my best to, tell you exactly what it is you should know about buying cheap lands, especially in Lagos. Now, what I've done is I have listed some questions that I'm going to go through to guide me through this presentation so that I will actually give you value. And if you have questions at the end of this broadcast, just ask them in the comments below and I will be sure to reply or answer your questions. I can see Fortune and Chinyelugo, come. Thanks very much for watching. So first of all, what do I mean by cheap lands? Now, when I say cheap lands, I have to consider, or we have to consider, the price and the neighborhood we are talking about. First of all, so in somewhere like Aja, currently, this is 2017, a plot of land for 5 million naira can be considered cheap. Because normally, for you to buy a genuine plot of land around Aja, you should be spending about 20-25 million or more. But when you go to somewhere like Ibeju Lekki, a plot of land that sells for 3, 4, 5 million is not considered cheap. That's on the high side. The reason is because this area is still developing. Yeah, good to see you too, Fortune. Now, the thing is, for somewhere like Ibeju Lekki, a plot of land for 800,000 naira can be considered cheap. The same reason is because this area is developing. Now, if you wanted to buy cheap lands of, let's say, 500,000 naira, 600,000 naira, without really giving yourself headache in an area that is developing, somewhere like Ibeju Lekki, that would have been like 3, 4, 5 years ago. But now, you see, you have to watch it. You see, when areas develop, the prices of lands in that area is also affected. For instance, you could comfortably buy a plot of land in Ibeju Lekki last 2 years for 600,000 naira and not think about it. But you see, now we are just like 1 year plus to the launch of the Dangote refinery, and you see, lands that sell cheap, you have to be really careful about them. The first thing is, people just sell lands these days. They know that these lands are not genuine, and they sell them. So you really have to watch it. Now, but first of all, let's talk about this. What's the good thing about buying cheap lands? The major thing, the major benefit that comes from buying cheap lands is capital appreciation. You see, people see that if you buy, let's say for instance, you are told that a plot of land sells for 600,000 naira, and if you buy 5 plots, you get one free. That means you're actually buying an acre of land for, let's say, 3 million naira. Now compare it with with someone else who buys one plot of land for 3 million naira. The truth is, in 15 years, when everywhere is developed, the plot of land that this person bought for 3 million naira could sell for 15, 20, 25, 30 million naira. And one plot of land within that area where you bought could still sell for the same price. So imagine someone owns one plot of land that sells for 15 million naira, and you own 5 plots of land or 6 plots of land that sell for 15 million naira each. That's the main reason why people buy these lands. But then the question is, why do these lands sell cheap? I've said it before. You see, when an area is developing, I just said it, to draw people into that area, developers sell lands for, at cheap rates. Not just developers, but also land speculators sell these lands at cheap rates. I know for a fact that in 2015, there was an estate where lands were sold for 1.2 million naira with a global CFO. Currently, in the same place, currently in the same neighborhood, currently in Ibeju Lekki, you cannot find a plot of land with that same title for 1.2 million naira. Why? The area has appreciated. A lot of things has happened in that area. And so if you get someone telling you that he can actually sell you a plot of land for that price, 1.2, 1.5 million naira, with a global CFO or with a proper title, then the person is probably lying to you, and you should watch it. Now, the question most people ask is, are these lands genuine? When people say, are these lands genuine, it all depends on where you're coming from. If you're told to buy a plot of land for 800,000 naira, most times, let me look at 2017 currently. A land for 800,000 naira definitely will not have a global CFO. It won't have a gazette or a governor's consent. These are proper titles. When I say proper titles, I mean titles that have been recognized and registered with the government. These lands, they are sold for 800, 700, 600,000 naira. Most times you are told that they are either awaiting excision or undergoing excision, or they just applied for excision. Now, briefly, I will explain what excision is. You see, the truth is, all lands in a state belongs to the government. So, before you lay claim to a parcel of land, you must have applied to the government. So let's say this village applies to the government to give them a portion of their land, and then the government say, okay, from this place that you applied for, take this part. This part has been excised. That's what excision means. But the problem with these things is that nobody knows if the government is actually going to give out these lands or not. It depends on a whole number of factors. The Nigerian factor, that's money, is also part of this thing. Who do you know? And the expertise of the skills of these persons who are applying for these lands. So the first thing you should do when buying or when you want to buy cheap lands is to conduct a search. Conduct a survey search and a title search. What a survey search does for you is to find out if this land is actually, has actually been committed for use by the government. I just said it now. You see, when you want to buy cheap lands, especially now, currently, like as I speak to you, lands in Ibeju Lekki that go for below 1 million naira do not have a CFO. They are, most of them or almost all of them will be awaiting excision, which can go, positive or negative. So first of all, you have to consider, or you have to search, is this land actually undergoing excision, or is it a land that has been committed for use by the government? You see, if the land has been committed for use by the government, probably they want to construct a hospital or a school, or they want to construct roads, then these lands will never be released. You see, it means that the government has indicated an interest on that land, and they will never release the land to you. So if you put your money in such land, you end up losing your money. These are the kind of lands that you should avoid. So you conduct a survey search, then you also conduct a title search. Most times when they say the land is awaiting excision, or they say excision in progress, you should ask for an excision file number. If it's actually in progress, then there should be a file number, so that you know if yes, truly this land is awaiting excision, and if it's awaiting excision, what stage is it at? Do you understand? Because some developers, some families just apply for excision and dump the files there. They don't follow up. They don't do anything about it. The reason they apply for excision is so that they can just show investors that, okay, this is our file number. And if you're an investor and you do not understand these things, you just say, okay, yes, he has a file number, he has a survey plan, let's go ahead and invest. No. A land could actually have a survey plan and have an extension file number and still not be genuine. And this land could still be committed by the government. You actually have to conduct a search to find out if, the land is genuine. Now, these are the steps, you should take before investing in such lands. Another thing is you should consider the company you are buying from. The company should be a reputable company. You see, these days, lots of companies just spring up, and most of these guys do not even understand land laws. They just have lots of money, they buy land and they start selling. They don't know if these lands are committed, they don't know if these lands are genuine. So if you happen to buy from these kind of guys, you may end up, they may end up discovering that the land they bought and they are selling is not genuine. And what will they do? They your hands off. They probably just run away, and that's the end of your money. So now the question is, okay, yes, you see, it's possible that you can buy genuine lands by buying lands that by searching for by searching to confirm if these lands are genuine, by searching if they are actually awaiting execution and all that. But the question is, what happens if the government does not release those lands? I said it before that all lands belong to the government. So what happens if these lands are not released by the government? I've had lots of investors ask me this question. First of all, for you to be buying such lands, you see, it's a risk. It could go either ways. So first things first, if you're buying from a company, this company should understand that if the government does not, approve the release of these lands, then they should apply for what we call ratification. This is actually another subject which I won't want to go into right now. But if that's why I said you should invest with companies that know what they're doing. The government does not release these lands, and they keep applying and applying and applying, but the government do not release this land. The government says these lands are committed. The company should apply for ratification. But the company will only apply for ratification if they feel obliged to. That is, if there is something that is making them, or that is, pushing them to apply for such ratification, such as, if they've written an agreement that if they do not give you these lands, or if there's a problem with these lands, that they are going to pay you your money back, then they know that they are going to lose. They are going to lose more if something goes wrong with these lands. Then they would be moved to apply for ratification. Ratification simply means applying to the government and saying, okay, yes, we know we bought a defective land, but the thing is, we want to regularize the title. Now the government says, okay, you want to regularize the title, you are going to pay this amount of money so that you can get a proper title for this land that normally would have been committed. So you apply for that, and the government regularizes the title, and then you are free. But you see, if these companies are not being held responsible, then they may choose not to apply for regularization or what we call ratification. So the question is, how do you protect yourself from loss? How do you hold these companies responsible? How do you make sure that even after buying these cheap lands, even after paying for these lands, I'm holding you responsible that if anything happens, you will either pay me back my money or give me land somewhere else? This is where we come to the last phase of this presentation, and it's called the indemnity clause. You see, after buying land, you are given a document called a contract of sale. Now this document is signed between you who bought the land and the seller of the land. Now the contract of sale says this land has been transferred to this person. We actually sold land to Mr. A or Mr. B, and he has so number of plots. He paid for survey, he paid for this, he paid for that, and he's not owing anything. Or if you're owing, they say yes, he's owing this and he's supposed to pay within this period. A very important clause that should be in the contract of sale is what we call the indemnity clause. This clause states that if anything happens to the land, probably if the government takes over the land, or if there's anything that happens within the community, the company agrees to indemnify the buyer. What it means is they are going to pay you back your money. Now, in some cases, like, let's be realistic, in some cases they may not be able to pay you back 100% of your money, because they must have spent money on admin fees and some other things while processing your documents. But they should be able to pay you at least 70% of your money after taking 30% for admin fees and some other things. At least 70% of your money comes back to you. So the question is, what is the risk? You see, investing is risky. Whether it's real estate or stock exchange or whatever. I said stock exchange, buying stocks, whatever it is, investing is risky. But you need to know how to mitigate these risks. If you actually buy, let's say, 5 plots for 3 million naira and everything comes out good, then you've just won a jackpot. You see, in 5 years or in 10 years or in 15 years, you have 5 plots of land selling for 25 million naira each. That's 125 million naira that you have. But if it doesn't go right, that's where you should be able to mitigate this risk by making sure that you sign a contract of sale that indemnifies you. You see, the company or the seller must indemnify you. They must state that, yes, we are going to give this guy his money back, or we are going to give him a new land, or we are going to give him most part of his money back. Now, these are the steps you should take when investing in lands, especially when these lands are cheap. Especially when these lands are cheap. So you want to invest in Ibeju Lekki now, and you do not have 3 million naira for a plot of land that has a global sale or a proper title. You want to buy land that is worth probably 800,000 naira, 600,000 naira. First things first, you should either conduct a search or have someone conduct a search for you, and be sure that, yes, this land is not has not been committed by the government. Secondly, you should make sure that the company you are buying from is reputable. Not company that just open shop and then, once something happens, they just run out of the country. If you buy from such people, sorry, you have yourself to blame. Buy from people who actually have businesses on ground, people who cannot run away because of some minor problem. These are the kind of companies you should buy from. Next thing is, if you want to buy such lands, I really advise that you do not buy from the landowners, like the traditional landowners, the people we call the Omonile. These people can actually take your money, and even if there is a legal document that binds you and them, they can still run away with your money, and there is nothing you will do. Of course, now person where you see, now you go feel hold. It's someone you see that you can actually hold. So if you do not see them, what can you do? Nothing. Lastly, after buying your land, to make sure that you are safe, that your investment is safe, before putting your signature on the contract of sale, look for that part that says that the company or the seller indemnifies the buyer. If you do not see that part that says that they will refund you or they indemnify you in any case of revocation of land, or if a problem comes up with the land, then do not put your signature on the contract, because the contract of sale is a document that is binding And once you put your signature on the contract, if anything happens to the land and they have not indemnified you, even if you take them to court, it's very possible that they might win. Some smart companies would want to omit this clause because they know the implication of this clause. But you see, it's your money. You should not, be scared when you're buying land. You should actually ask questions from the beginning till the end. Ask questions. Even when you feel you are asking so many questions, keep asking questions. Because the truth is, once your money goes, that's it. It's gone. So I think I've actually come to the end of today's video, and I hope I have been able to actually let you understand the truth about cheap lands, the truth about buying cheap lands, especially in Lagos State, especially in areas that are developing. If you have questions whenever you watch this video, ask them in the comments, and whenever I come, on Facebook, I'll answer your questions. Leona, thank you very much. Say good job, man. Thank you very much, bro. Mama Dokas, thank you very much. And lastly, guys, you see, I've always talked about Ibeju Lekki. The truth is that this area is one area that a lot is going on. I've talked about the Dangote refinery. I've talked about the Lekki Free Trade Zone. I've talked about a lot that has been happening in this area. Like I said initially, lands in this area about 2 years ago we're selling for 1.2 million, 1.5 million with proper titles. Now you cannot see such lands. This same land sell for 3.5 million, 4 million. A year from now, 2 years from now, 2 years from now, these lands will actually sell for 7, 8, 9, 10 million naira. So the question is, what are you waiting for? If you can actually afford it, why not put funds together and invest in this area now, when you see when these lands are still developing and when you can still afford it? And if you cannot afford it alone, come on, you could team up with a friend, 1.5, you both buy this land with the intention to wait until it appreciates, and then you can sell and you recoup, both your investments and profits. The truth is, like I said, or like I've always said, lands in Ibeju Lekki appreciate as in up to 100% every year. We've seen lands go from 1.2 million naira to 3.5 million naira in less than 2 years. So the question is, what are you waiting for? And if you have any questions concerning real estate, the real estate industry in Lagos, you can always call me. My number is above this video, and or you can send me an email. My email address is above this video too. And I just released a free report. I call it 4 ways to detect a defective land. 4 ways to detect a defective land. It explains how to detect a land that has been committed by the government. It explains how to detect a land that has a defective title. It explains how to detect a land that has a dispute in court, and some other good stuff that you want to know. So it's free. Just click the link above and download your copy. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I hope to be with you next week, Friday. Until then, do have a lovely weekend, and bye-bye.